Hello everybody, my name is Marlon Harrison, class of 2013, and today I got a special interview for y'all today. As many of you guys know, I am doing alumni interviews for the 100th anniversary, which is coming up in the 2024 and 2025 school year. And today I got a very special interview today, Mrs. Bernice Nared, principal of Omaha North High Magnet School from 1997 to 2001. I will be talking to her today about her experience coming up in the segregated South, her coming to Omaha Public Schools, teaching at various high schools, and also her time here at Omaha North High Magnet Schools. So please sit back, get some popcorn and some juice, and enjoy this very special interview. Good morning, Ms. Nared. How are you doing today?
Fantastic, and how are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for doing this special edition of this interview.
You're welcome.
So question number one, tell me about your childhood growing up and who were some of the people you looked up to?
Growing up, I grew up in the state of Oklahoma in a very small town, attended a segregated school all my life. I am the oldest of 10 children. I am the first of my family to graduate from college, and all of the other children in the family all graduated from college. We didn't have preschool, you didn't have kindergarten, you started first grade. And that meant that it was an all-black school all the way through. There were a lot of things that we didn't have, a lot of things that we were not exposed to. We could not attend the high school, which was right in our back door where we lived. We had separate parades, we had separate activities. We were always given the books from the white high school to utilize whenever they became old, and we got the next edition, and that's how, but you had to go out and be smart. We didn't have very many activities at the school. We didn't have a yearbook, we didn't have a prom, we didn't have banquets. We did have athletics. You had football teams, basketball team, and track team. That was about it.
And who were some of the people you looked up to growing up?
I looked up to my English teacher, Mrs. Harris. I looked up to my science teacher, Mr. Edwards. I looked up to my social studies teacher, and Mr. Reed, and of course my parents, my mom and dad, who worked very hard to put us through school.
Coming up in the civil rights era of the 50s, 60s, and 70s, how did that affect you as an educator?
Well, I had already been affected because I grew up in a segregated town. I went to a segregated high school. There was no such thing as a middle school. It was all one school. You had elementary, middle, and senior high all in one building. And I went to an all-black college. I went to Langston University and graduated from Langston University in Langston, Oklahoma, which is also a little small town outside of Guthrie, which used to be the capital, but someone stole the papers, moved to Oklahoma City. We don't want to go through that whole routine. And so that's where our town was. But it sat 10 miles out of town, which is out of Guthrie, Oklahoma, so you couldn't get very far, and you didn't have all of the amenities and all of those kinds of things. But I did exactly that. When I came to Omaha, which was the late 60s, 68, I was hired at Omaha Technical High School.
Tell me about your beginning years in education, like what did you teach and where did you teach at?
Okay. I was recruited by Dr. Eugene Skinner. Dr. Skinner came to Langston University.
Very nice.
To recruit teachers to come to Omaha because there was a lull in African American individuals at that time. And he hired me on the spot and said, "Can you be in Omaha?" And I said, "Where in the heck is Omaha?" On Monday to take a classroom. Well, I had no transportation to get to Omaha. I had no money to get to Omaha. But he said, "Well, we'll make it happen." My father gave me money to ride a bus. I rode a Trailways bus all the way to Omaha, Nebraska, to take a job here at Omaha Technical High School. My classes were called Guidance and Health. At the time, you took PE classes one semester, 2 days a week, and then you took Guidance and Health 3 days a week, and the next semester that would alternate. So those are the classes that I taught. And of course, then I worked numerous kinds of activities, so that was it. My classroom was on the 5th floor of Tech High School. It's a very large building. There were 3,200 students in that building at the time. It was a health class, opposite your PE class.
Okay. So during your tenure in education, Omaha Public Schools started court order busing. First question, what was your initial thoughts when OPS started this?
My initial thought at the time was it's going to allow some of the students who have been trapped in certain buildings to attend so that they could venture out and go to other schools. But that was going to cause a problem, simply because there were very few African American teachers that were going to be in these buildings where the students had to go. Transportation to get to a school was detrimental to a lot of the students. But that transportation to get to the schools didn't help the students who arrived at those schools and who wanted to take part in the activities of the school, because they had to catch that bus to get back home, and they had no way home if they had to stay after. City buses didn't go as far out as Burke and all those other places that the students from North Omaha had to go. But it turned out to be a good thing, but there were trials and tribulations with that. So that's my initial thought on it at the beginning. I was at Tech High School when that started, so it just rearranged the populations of the buildings.
And what were your thoughts when OPS ended court order busing?
Good, but not good. It put a void in the hold of the parents in the community trying to get their children to buildings where their child wanted to go to school. Transportation was still a problem. The city buses was still a problem. We couldn't afford all these cars to get back and forth to the buildings that we wanted to attend. It caused problems within the buildings. Students weren't totally accepted at that point. They had concerns in the buildings, and who would they take those concerns to? There were no person of color in their building for them to take their concerns to. Who do they discuss it with? They come back to the community. What community groups could they meet with? Their sentiments weren't heard.
So tell me about your journey on becoming assistant principal at Central High School.
Central High School. When Tech High School, I was assigned as a counselor at Northwest High School. And I spent 10 years at Northwest High School as a guidance counselor and the guidance director. When Mary Dean Harvey, who was Thomas Harvey's wife, was assigned to Bryan Middle School, she was selected to be principal at Lewis and Clark. I was plucked from Northwest High School to go to Bryan High School to be the assistant principal in her spot. I stayed there 4 years, and 4 years later, I got a call to go visit with Dr. Moeller to interview for a position at his building that was being vacated. And so I interviewed for that position, and Dr. Moeller accepted me as his assistant principal. That's how I ended up at Central High School.
Nice. In 1997, Mr. Thomas Harvey was appointed the new assistant superintendent for Omaha Public Schools. What made you want to apply for the new principal position up at North High School?
Number one, I didn't apply. Number two, I didn't have to apply. And number three, Dr. McKeel summons me from Central High School to his office. Dr. McKeel said, "You are going to go to North High School as the next principal of North High School. You are going to take Thomas Harvey's position. You will be the first female black individual to head a major high school in the state of Nebraska." And so I said, fine, and I ended up, when he left at the end of his term in 97. I came here in 97 and I took the position.
And that follow-up question, was you scared being the first female principal up in North High?
Absolutely not. Scared of what?
Okay.
People, staff, students, activities? No. Stigma? No. I'd been in the community. I knew the city. I had been at the elementary level. I had been at the middle school level. I knew the populations in North Omaha. I knew the populations in South Omaha. I knew the population in West Omaha. So what was I going to be afraid of? The big building or what I was going to run into?
That answered my question right there. That answered my questions right there. What would you like your legacy to be?
My legacy?
Mm-hmm.
That she was time-oriented, didn't like late things, that I was always available, that I was always focused, that I was always supportive. I tried to be an effective role model for the African American population and the other population of the building. I was always open to changes. I like the challenges. I'm very competitive. I like to compete. I like to come out on top when I compete. I don't like the word no. Don't tell me that you can't do something when the word is there's a possibility and I think you can. I always tried to elevate everyone in the building, so you notice that if you've been looking at the history of this building, all of the assistant principals and deans of students that I had have gone on to become principals of buildings. You've got Tom Lee, who was a basketball coach. He's now principal. He took my spot at Northwest. He's over at Westview. Lisa Dale, who ended up being principal over at Benson. So there's another female. I'm trying to think. Mr. Haynes came through. Mr. Colvin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you just keep naming people. I would say I was never intimidated, don't like to be intimidated, could care less. I was an individual who always walked the halls. Mr. Haynes is doing that, he did that too. You can't take care of a building by sitting in an office, doesn't work. I was here day and night. You had to put in long hours. So if you want a position of leadership, you got to put in the hours. You got to be available when your community is available. You got to be available when your staff is available. You got to be available when your students are available. But I always saw something good and beautiful in everybody. So a legacy, there you go. I tried to make them keep a principal scrapbook. My scrapbook is in front of me. Of everything that happened at the school. You know, there were some sad moments because we lost some students to accidents. We lost students otherwise. But here you go. I kept everything, and I'm hoping that she is doing the same thing so that somewhere along the line when you come back and students like you come back and say, let's review what happened at North High School and let's see what's going on and let's start a program. So. Yeah.
Okay, this is kind of like last thing I kind of got from watching a lot about Walter interviews. Finish this sentence for me. Mrs. Bernice Nared is
Loved.
That's it.
Kind. Considerate. Focused. Keep a smile on her face.
And that will be all. That concludes our interview. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for doing this interview. You are very appreciative, and I really hope one day you will get your flowers because you are a true leader, a strong black woman who is not scared of anything, and I'm very proud of you and what you have accomplished, not just here at North High, but also in the community.
Thank you, young man, and I'm proud of you for taking on this project. It's a huge one. And I hope that the fruits of what you are doing is going to be seen for years and years and years to come. Okay? You're welcome.
That was a great interview. Thank you to Mrs. Bernice Nared for that amazing information and words of wisdom. And hopefully some of y'all learn a little bit about her and about Omaha North High. So Thank you guys so much for enjoying this interview, and I really hope y'all enjoy your day, and make sure y'all like and subscribe and share and look out for any future videos coming your way. Thank you.